emerged, who faded, and how will tonight's developments affect the way that South Carolina Democrats vote in Saturday's primary? Let's discuss with special reporter and Fox News chief political anchor Bret Baier. And there will be special coverage of the primary on Saturday night as well.
On Saturday, we'll have full coverage.
Okay, so let's, as we expected, Bernie Sanders is the official front runner now. So that means you're going to take the most incoming.
It is. And, you know, think about this. He's run for president before, but he's never been that guy, the guy that everybody's going after in the spotlight. And this was that night. The debate overall was pretty messy, chaotic. There were hand waving. It was really loud. It seemed like that Will Ferrell character who couldn't control the tone and pitch of his voice when he's talking. Some of that happened. But you're right. The candidates, most of them, were trained on Sanders, a few of them here.
I'll tell you exactly what it adds up to. It adds up to 4 more years of Donald Trump, Kevin McCarthy as Speaker of the House, and the inability to get the Senate into Democratic hands. The time has come for us to stop acting like the presidency is the only office that matters. Not only is this a way to get Donald Trump reelected, we got a House to worry about. We got a Senate to worry about. And this is really important. Look, if you want to keep the House in Democratic hands, you might want to check with the people who actually turned the House blue.
I am the only one in the New Hampshire debate when asked if we had a problem with a socialist leading the ticket that raised my hand. According to Vanderbilt University in Tennessee, last Congress, I was the most effective Democrat in the U.S. Senate on 15 metrics. Bernie and Elizabeth were in the bottom half.
Bernie, in fact, hasn't passed much of anything. The fact of the matter is...
But I get to answer that. I get to answer that.
Look, the fact is, here's the deal. I'm not out of time. You spoke over time, and I'm going to talk.
There were a lot of those moments where I'm not out of time, and then he caught himself and said, it must be my Catholic upbringing. I stop when I'm told to stop. Joe Biden had a better than average night, I think, and that may be really all he needs for South Carolina. But there were a couple of stumbles like he always makes. At one point he said there were 150 million people killed since 2007 in gun violence. I mean, that's
in
half,
the U.S.
In the U.S., half the country. I think he meant 150,000 in that time frame. So it was, you know, okay.
It was a little Wild West tonight.
Better.
For sure. I mean, the talking over each other and the demanding that they stop. And, you know, like you said, there was one time or a couple times where he said, I'm not going to stop talking. Everyone else is ignoring the rules, so I'm just going to keep going. And he actually got a cheer at one point from the audience.
But then he stopped because he ran out of things to say.
Yeah, that's true. Like, and your time is still not up. Okay, so the other target tonight, Michael Bloomberg, who is, you know, second time on the stage, expectations based on his performance last time. How'd he do?
Well, those expectations were pretty low. I mean, that was a low bar from last time, so he did do better than last time. Elizabeth Warren again swinging out against the former New York mayor, Mike Bloomberg. And, you know, he had some really tough lines where clearly his debate prep people, who are obviously getting paid a lot of money, gave him some lines to memorize and some jokes, but they really fell flat.
Vladimir Putin thinks that Donald Trump should be president of the United States, and that's why Russia is helping you get elected so you'll lose to him.
At least I didn't have a boss who said to me, kill it, the way that Mayor Bloomberg
never
alleged
said
to
that.
have said to one of his pregnant employees. People want a chance to hear. People want a chance to hear from the women who
I never said that. I'm surprised they show up because I would have thought after I did such a good job in beating them last week that they'd be a little bit afraid to do that. What's right for New York City isn't necessarily right for all the other cities. Otherwise, you'd have a naked cowboy in every city.
Now, somebody in the middle of the country who maybe hasn't been to Times Square, where the naked cowboy is the guy with the guitar, they have no clue what he was talking about there. And so I just think it missed. His best part of the night may have been the commercials that aired during the actual debate. And there were many of Bloomberg commercials, and he's still spending a lot of money.
They are very well done. And if you watch any television, you're seeing them. Or if you play any video games, they pop up. I mean, they're everywhere. But he has the money, and he has said to the party, listen, I've got the resources. I'll keep running against this guy. You don't have to worry about that. Okay, so there was a lot of Bernie time.
There was
tonight as well. And, you know, he had to deal with a couple of contentious topics.
I think that this was not a great debate for Bernie Sanders. Of debates, he's usually kind of the focus, but he kind of make sure that he hits his marks. There were a couple times he was thrown off. At one time, he had a back and forth with the audience where he was saying, really, really, to the audience, which was kind of an interesting moment. But at the end, kind of gained his traction and even talked about Israel and how his Jewish heritage factors in.
The way we are going to beat Trump, which is what everybody up here wants, is we need a campaign of energy and excitement. We need to have the largest voter turnout in the history of the United States. We need to bring working people back into the Democratic Party. We need to get young people voting in a way they have never done before. That is what our campaign is about. I am very proud of being Jewish. I actually lived in Israel for some months. But what I happen to believe is that right now, sadly, tragically, in Israel, through Bibi Netanyahu, you have a reactionary racist who is now running that country. We have got to have a policy that reaches out to the Palestinians and the Americans.
So he was under attack, but he's also on the rise in the polls. And remember that it's not just about South Carolina, it's about Super Tuesday. That's only 3 days later. And it really is he's got the momentum that he could get proportional delegates along the way, all the way to Milwaukee. Mayor Pete had some good lines, some good moments. Amy Klobuchar had some good lines, some good moments. So did Joe Biden. But was there one of them that stood out, that is going to clear the field to be the one candidate against Bernie Sanders? I didn't see that. So then Bernie Sanders is the winner.
Well, and it was interesting how many of them talked about the impact, and we had Pete Buttigieg there, you included, where he talked about, and several others of them said, you're going to hurt the rest of the ticket down ballot if this is the guy that we pick. But unless they coalesce around another candidate very quickly, it seems like that's could be a foregone conclusion.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that he continued to defend the Cuba talk and spent a lot of time on it, about literacy programs for Fidel Castro. Remember, Fidel Castro is dead. And while his regime is still in place, essentially, that's not a great thing to be talking about or spending time on.
Yeah, and Democrats in Florida are very upset about that, saying it's going to be a bad thing for them. Okay, you have a big event coming up on Thursday night where we'll get to hear from one of these candidates.
Yes, Senator Amy Klobuchar will have a town hall with us in Raleigh, North Carolina. Martha and I will be there. We'll ask some tough questions about her path forward and get into some substance with the people of North Carolina. I used to live there. It's a great place, and we should have a good time.
All right. You were in Raleigh, right? I was in Charlotte, so it is a great place. Anyway, we'll look forward to that on Thursday night.
You bet.
Thanks for staying up late. Good to see you. Okay, let's take a look at some of the other